that time, Claudine. We've all been waiting for our speaker, or shall I say, our speakers. I would like to welcome one of the members of the African American History Committee Advisory Board, Diane Moore, who will introduce our speakers for the hour. Let's give her a round of applause.
Doctors Sampson Davis, Rameck Hunt, and George Jenkins, known as the Three Doctors, are nationally celebrated role models who turned a childhood pact into a powerful legacy of resilience, education, and service. Raised in Newark, New Jersey, the trio made a promise as teens to stick together, rise above their environment, and become doctors. Despite facing poverty, peer pressure, and limited role models, they fulfilled that promise and throughout the years have dedicated their lives to uplifting others. Today, Dr. Hunt is a board-certified internist at Princeton Medical Center and assistant professor of medicine at Robert Wood Johnson Medical School. Dr. Jenkins is an associate dean for access, equity, and inclusion, and an assistant professor of clinical dentistry at Columbia University College of Dental Medicine. Dr. Davis is a board-certified emergency medicine physician at several hospitals throughout New Jersey. Together, they've co-authored 3 acclaimed books, We Beat the Street, The Bond, as well as the New York Times best-selling book, The Pact. In 2000, Drs. Davis, Hunt, and Jenkins also founded the Three Doctors Foundation, which has provided over 2 decades of free health, education, and mentoring programs for youth and families. Their story has inspired millions throughout national media appearances, including CNN, BET, and The Oprah Winfrey Show. During that appearance, Oprah declared, "You guys are the premier role models of the world." Throughout every platform, the Three Doctors continue to champion patience, purpose, and the power of community. Please help me welcome the Three Doctors.
Good afternoon, everyone. How we doing? Indianapolis. It is a joy. It is a joy and a pleasure to be here with you guys today. We hail from Newark, New Jersey. Newark in the house. And you know when you're Newark, you say Newark. Newark. The E and the A goes away. It's just NWK, Newark. So I'm Dr. Sampson Davis, and as Keelan was speaking, I thought about Maya Angelou quote, people will forget what you said. People forget what you said, people forget what you did, but we never forget how you made them feel, right? So it's so important, young people, that you guys take care of each other. You listen to your parents, and those with a little bit more gray hair than you, and learn from them. Wisdom is something that comes with time. Experiences comes all the time, but wisdom is something you develop into. So it's so important. And being here in the library is kind of how we got our start. Being that we grew up in Newark last century, as my kid would say, BC, before internet, cell phones, Uber, right? We had taxis. You guys don't even know anything about a taxi. And we had an answer machine where you had to call and leave a message. So we've seen a lot. We've seen a lot of changes, right? All for the better, though. But I want to be brief because I know we are on limited time, but our start, we met each other growing up single-parent homes, poverty. I think it's called SNAP. It was called welfare and food stamps back then, and on public assistance. I remember being on food stamps. I used to go in the store. So you had these stamps that was like fake. They were like Monopoly money. And I would look. All right, go ahead, real fast. Because I didn't want anybody to know I was on welfare. And that was our backdrop. So growing up in that environment, and crime was something that was really a part of our community. Unfortunately so, but people had to make a way, and there wasn't many other ways to make a way, so people relied on creative gestures, and so this was a lot of despair, dilapidation. But then I met these 2 guys, just like you guys are here today, friends, and we, the way we met, And I know Mr. Gregory Hill is the leader of this public library here, and libraries, like movie theaters, are becoming a thing of the past, so we have to make sure we support them. We have to make sure we go. There's something about being in a library I feel enriched. I don't know, I just feel smarter. Don't you feel smarter when you're in a library? I don't even know why. Like, all of a sudden, like, man, I think I could take a test right now and do quite well. I don't know why. It's like going to church. Like, I just feel the Jesus. Right? So we have to support it, but we met each other in high school. We were lived in respective parts of the community in Newark. Like, so we had to take public transportation to get from one spot to the next spot. I remember I had to take the test to go to the school that we met in, and I was like, man, I'm like, really, Mom? And she's like, yeah. I said, but I could walk to school now. I got to take 2 buses? And she's like, yep, you're going to have to take 2 public buses. And it's something about being about 12 and 13 years old. You still want to look cool, even though it's the dead of winter. You want to put on your fly jacket, thin as it is. And she's like, boy, you better put a hat on your head, right? But it was, your cool points mattered, right? So that was important. But so we met in high school. Well, I met Dr. Jenkins here in the middle in 7th grade. We met Dr. Hunt in the 9th grade. But we were always together, just the 3 of us, just trying to just figure out life. There wasn't like any plans, or this wasn't orchestrated to be anything in our imagination. We were just fumbling through freshman year, sophomore year, junior year. I had Dr. Hunt and I both had brushes with the law. I was in juvenile detention for all of the summer of last century. And that's when I came back my senior year. I had a second opportunity at it. And the way that this all formulated, right? So, you have to be on God's time. And the way that it all came together, we were second period class, senior year. I'm all focused now. When I had a second opportunity, I got A's in everything. I went back, I got an A in science, I got an A in math, I got an A in lunch, I got an A in gym. I got all A's straight through. So we were second period class, so we still had mischief in us. We're seniors, and we didn't know exactly what we're going to do with our future. But second period class, I'll let you guys figure it out. Second period class, substitute teacher. Say less. Somebody said say less. 6'7", right? Say less. I love that. I don't know what it means, but I love it.
You got kids.
So second period class, substitute teacher. We had been together at that point for 4 years. So we just looked at each other. Operation cut a class was in full effect. So we all made up different excuses to get out of the class. And all of us, the substitute teacher, like, well, if you stay here, you're going to cause mayhem. If you leave, then we'll have a peaceful class. So we all left the class. And so we're standing in the hallways without a pass. So you already know that's trouble. So we had to figure out what to do with ourselves. And I don't know about your school, but our schools in Newark, like, none of the bathrooms are clean, none of the toilets work, none of the sinks work, there's no paper, there's nothing in there. So we couldn't really hang out in the bathroom, so we decided we were going to go to the gym. And to get to the gym, basically, we had to go from one side of the school to the other side of the school, and we had to pass the security desk, which kind of sat like right here where this podium is. And so, but our security guard, Mr. Brown, was there in retirement. So Mr. Brown would take his desk and turn it so that his back would be to the people passing in the hallway so you could sleep past Mr. Brown. But today, we're out of class, and we know Mr. Brown's routine. We're going to walk past him, just pretend like we got a destination and he's not going to stop us. But as we were making our way past Mr. Brown's desk, he was not there. And Mr. Brown got 30+ years in. He's like, he's probably was there before the desk was there. You know what I mean? Like he's been there a long time. So we're getting past the desk. We're like, well, you know what? The goal is to get to the end of the hallway. We're going to turn the corner, and we're going to slide in through the side door and blend in with the class that's in the gym. So Miss Hewitt, our gym teacher, wasn't like, why y'all coming to my gym? Y'all know y'all supposed to be here. We're just going to slide in and blend in with the class. So as we're making it past Mr. Brown's desk, we start hearing footsteps behind us. So, we're 17, we got selective hearing, but we're nosy, so we're going to turn around and see what's going on. And wouldn't you know, it was a substitute security guard. And he said, y'all 3 stop. So, at that time, again, our selective hearing, we started, picking up speed. And before you know it, we're like running. So, we're 17, he's old, he's 40. He's never going to catch us, right? So we're almost to the end of the hallway. We're going to come in through that side door. We're going to blend in the class that's there playing basketball and, hanging out on the bleachers. And before we could get there, somebody stepped out in front of us, and it was the principal. So now we're sandwiched between the principal and the substitute security guard. Now I'm 17. I did want to ask the principal why she was roaming the hallways. She should be somewhere talking to some parent, but that's not my place. So now we're sandwiched, and as a last-ditch effort, we're caught. But today of all days, we had another door that was a part of where the gym was, which was a library. Right? It's kind of weird. And our library, I don't know about y'all growing up, but again, our library had like 5, 6 locks on it. I used to feel bad for Miss Williams, who used to she was, near, everybody was near retirement when we were going to school, but she was near retirement, and she used to have to open up all the locks. And I poor Miss Williams, but she'd get low, I was just like, oh God, I don't know if she's gonna make it back up, but she'd get low. And they had these wire mesh on their windows, like they were protecting something. It's kind of weird, right? It's so interesting how knowledge is so powerful, and it's right here. It's right at your fingertips. It's right at your fingertips. So our library was like, protecting gold nuggets, if you will, happened to be open. We dove into the library because we weren't going to try to surrender. We're not going to go down without a fight. And it so happened we dove into the library, and it happened to be a careers in health and science being presented by one of the local colleges, Seton Hall University. So all 3 of us scrambled. We took a seat. Dr. Jenkins listened in, because at some point he had received a message at 12 and 13 years old that he wanted to be a dentist, right? We all got to start with a vision. It all starts with a dream. It all starts with possibility of what you want to be in life. So all you young people here, you got to ask yourself when you leave here today, what do you want to become? What do you want to be in life? And believe it or not, it starts and stops with you. If you believe it, you can achieve it. If you don't believe it, you won't achieve it. So regardless of what people tell you, you're not good enough, you're not smart enough, you're not tall enough, you're not fast enough, you're not quick enough, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. It does not matter as long as you feel it that you can do it. So Dr. Jenkins listened in. He wanted to be a dentist. He was 13. He had braces put on his teeth, and being a very pragmatic guy, he's like, when the guy, he had a dental resident. And also, I just want to really point out on this, I got to be really quick here, but adults, please continue to give and support our kids. I know you are because you're here. I understand that. But you don't understand when you drop off a little bit of something, you just never know when that's going to blossom into something beautiful. So this dental resident who Dr. Jenkins have no relationship with taught him the different teeth in the mouth. The canines, the molars, the premolars, the different component of the tooth, the enamel, the dentine, the pulp, the nerve. And he said to Dr. Jenkins, so George is like, okay, all right, 32 teeth. Okay, great. These are the components. You promised me it's not 33, 34. He's like, no, it's 32 teeth. That's it. And he said, let me get this right. If it's broke, I fix it. If I can't fix it, I pull it. He's like, yep. He said, I think I can become a dentist. I think I can do this. And here it was in this moment, unpredictably so, of this program from Seton Hall University talking about making young men and young women doctors and dentists and PhDs and doctor degrees. And so he was excited. Dr. Hunt wanted to be a teacher. So educators, doctors, nurses, what do? They help people. So he listened in, and being that we were poor, they said it might be free, so that didn't go unheard. Because poor and free is like peanut butter and jelly. It really goes together quite well, trust me. So of course I took a nap because I was working at McDonald's. They had promoted me to crew chief and assistant manager. So I was on my way. McDonald's was gonna be my thing. No one in my family ever went to college, so how dare I dream so big, right? 5 siblings, 6 of us, 2-bedroom home. We had heat in the summer, AC in the winter. I'll let you guys simmer on that one. So here we were now. They wake me up, period ends. They jumping up and down. You see your boys jumping up and down. They're like, man, we're about to be doctors. I'm like, hold on, time out, doctors? Like, where did this come from? I was sleeping. I didn't know we were going to become doctors. Like, we just was cutting class, going to the gym. Now we're going to become doctors. Like, how did that happen? Like, okay, like Trapper John M.D., Quincy. They don't know anything about that. That's an old show from back in the days. It's like the show Grey's Anatomy, I think, of today, or one of those shows and whatnot. So they're excited. They're jumping up and down. But you see your boys jump up and down. What do? You jump up and down. So I'm jumping up and down. So I'm like, doctors, assistant manager at McDonald's, doctor, assistant manager, doctor. But I was like, okay, all right. So I'm still jumping. Like, how long is that going to take? A year or two? They said, no, 8 years. So I stopped jumping. Like, you guys want to go to school on purpose? Like, we're almost done. We're seniors. We're graduating. And the beauty of that unplanned, serendipitous, God-driven moment was the fact that we said we could do it together. We could do it together. So we started the adventure in that library. And we started the path. We all applied to college. And I went on the college campus first time as a 17-and-a-half-year-old. And they had green grass. Yeah, I was surprised. They said hello. And like, where I come from, you say hello. That's a setup. Like, so you start looking around. Like, how's it going to go down here? And they had AC in the summer and heat in the winter. Like, I ain't going nowhere. Dean's List every semester. Dean's List every semester. So as I wrap here, I just want to say I've known these guys longer than you guys been alive up there, right? And they're my brothers, and we've had the pleasure of experiencing life together. Unplanned, uncharted moments. We've had tremendous opportunity. We've written 5 books, 2 New York Times bestseller. We was on Oprah. She touched my leg. I fell in love. She did not. Again, where I come from, you touch my leg, we go together, right? And I was upset that she didn't get that memo. So I know we're not too far from Chicago. If anybody know, I call her O. If anybody know O, tell her, give me, DM me. But I just, and so we went on college. The college is the best time of your life. It's the best time of your life. I can't even tell you. You got 50 of your best friends living next door to you. Then we went off to, they accepted us to med school. I never forget, like, congratulations, you've been accepted to med school. Like, then I messed up. It wasn't that easy, but we plowed through because we had each other. Then graduated, went back to Newark to practice emergency medicine in the same hospital I was born in, which was a joy, which was indeed a pleasure. So as I end, I just want you guys to feel charged, feel empowered, know you are special, know that you are gifted, and believe that the word impossible really stands for impossible. I'm possible. That you can go on to do the greatness you achieve, and you deserve that for yourself. Don't let anyone ever take that thunder away from you. I don't care how seasoned and experienced and what they've been through life and what they could tell you. If you really believe it in your heart, it is yours to claim. So make sure you go forth and you go forward and you continue to blossom, and never forget to come back and give back. It's so important. We've been on this crusade now for, so many years now, some decades. But we do this not only because we love it, but we do it because so many people helped us to get here. So many people. The Dr. Shees, the Carla Dixon. Dr. She, who I met, was my genetic professor. She was 5'2" when I met her. By the time I graduated, she was 4'10", right? But she came and gave me money to buy books for medical school. So you understand, like, it's what we don't ever get, what never gets old is kindness. It never gets old. I don't care how much advancements we have in society and technology. Make sure you give back. Make sure you pay it forward. Make sure you believe in yourself. And make sure you step out there with all the bravado. If you get an A on the test, you should be like, man, I got an A on the test. Talk to me. But you corny because you got an A on the test. What? I mean, school is cool. That's why it rhymes. So an A on the test is the best. I'm making this up as I go, right? And they call you nerd today, it's okay, because they be calling you boss tomorrow. Thank you, guys.
Oh, boy. We had a nice, I thought we had a little huddle. Okay, you got 2 minutes, you got 10 minutes. It never works. And he thinks he's being brief by repeating it. I'm going to be brief. That doesn't shorten your speech. But no, I'm just kidding. We have a good time when we're here. I'm going to try to barrel through because if I don't, I want to, give Rameck some time. But again, we all jokes because we love when Sam, it's on him. If he wants to do all of the heavy lifting, we here to support you, brother. But I'm going to start by, because I was so inspired by his words, that I'm going to start by just backing some of the things that he said up. But first, let me introduce myself. Sorry. My name is Dr. George Jenkins. I am the dentist of the group. Right now, not even right now, my whole career, I never practiced, guys. As soon as I graduated, it was something calling me to sit right by the door of graduation. Once I graduated, I just camped out right there because something called me to leave the tunnel open and to install lights now. Because we had to go through it by ourselves, kind of trying to figure it out. And that tunnel was dark. We saw some light, but once I graduated, it felt like the books and things that we were doing and we were getting called into classrooms to come speak. The first time I spoke to a young kid, 8th grade, not even 8th grade, I don't know how, maybe it was an 8th grade teacher asked us to come out and speak. They saw our pictures in the newspaper when we graduated. We didn't know we were speaking or to do anything about public speaking. We had no idea. When we were like, what do you want us to talk about? You can't tell me she didn't kick all three of us in the butt out into her class and was like, I don't care what you talk about. Just get in front of them because something's going to rub off on my students. And so we just took turns and spoke to those young people with whatever was on our hearts that we thought at the time, not knowing that we're public speakers. This is one of the first times I'm speaking to this little kid and I'm telling him that he can go to college. I'm telling him what I believe in him. Just met him. And as I'm talking to this kid, you cannot tell me I was not changing his perception of reality. Because I could see wheels turning. He's looking at me and then off, and I know that look. And it looked like like his questions, you really think I can go to college? Yes. And from that moment, I floated for 2 weeks. I knew I got to that kid, but I don't know, all of this is new, but I know something happened right there that was like, I felt it. That's all I wanted to do. I didn't want to touch a drill again. I didn't want to do injections again. I figured I had to. I trained a long time to do it, but whatever I thought I was going to be doing with my dental career was over. It became something else, and I had to kind of spend my career trying to find what that is and shape it because my path was a little different, and I just kind of felt my way there. But I want to talk to you guys really fast, young people. This is going to kind of be all over the place, but I'll try to make it connect. One of the things that he said to you guys about thinking about what you want to become and dreaming. We need you guys to dream and start thinking about the future. What are you good at? I still love video games. You play video games, you might can be a software developer. You like cooking, you might can be a chef. What do you like to do? You can kind of form a career and explore a career. Google is your friend. You can kind of figure out the pathway of whatever you are inclined to do. But you can make a living off the thing that you love to do, the things that you're having fun with. You have an opportunity to figure out a way at this age to find a way to make a living off that thing where you feel like you never worked a day in your life. But the point of following up of what Sam said was, yeah, we want you to dream. We want you to think about what you want to become. But as soon as he said that, I wanted to let you guys know that the course of your future and the very quality of your future, and whatever it's gonna look like, that's right in your hands, whether you know it or not. Exactly what you want to do is in your hands. So the way I kind of explain it to you guys is like it's like a lump of clay before you shaped it into anything. And every time your teacher asks you to do a book report and you handed it on time, you shaping that into something positive. Every time you have to study or do a spelling bee or anything that you have to do that's expected of you in school, you show up on time, you be respectful, you do your work, you care about handing things in. The worst thing I want any of you students to be is the type of student that has a book report due. The teacher says, I hand that in Monday, and you just doop-de-doo, walk in, sit in class, knowing that that assignment is due and you don't have it. That's not what's gonna get it, but that's not what's gonna get it in life, let alone school. So we need, you know, one of the things I try to help you understand is when you do these things that are expected of you, you're shaping your future. But when you don't do them, you're shaping your future also. But when you do those positive things, you're kind of shaping the future that you're gonna wanna live in and be proud of. So I just really want you to understand that every time you do what's expected of you, you're walking closer to a bright future. So that means you are in more control of what your future looks like than you think. It doesn't have to happen to you. You can literally shape it. But so that was the first point I wanted to make sure I say to you guys. But really quickly, when I look at the theme of today's event, and it revolves heavily around strength, I just wanted to share just a few sources of strength that I was able to get from people along my journey and try to stick a landing on what I'm doing with that today. I had crooked teeth. I had fangs, so to speak. I looked like a vampire with no special effects. It was real. And my mother looked at my mouth, and I don't know any better, but she's just like, Lord, I cannot send you into your future looking like that. So she figured out how to get me some, she didn't have much money, single mom. We trying to figure it out. But she's like, I'm going to have to figure out some orthodontic treatment for you. So we went to a dental school in Newark, the only one in New Jersey, 10 blocks from my house. And thank goodness we were able to work out a plan with them. And that's how I got inspired to be a dentist. But once I got inspired to be before that, the first person that gave me the strength of kind of blocking out what was happening in my environment in a way that I could navigate it without letting it make me think that that's all the world had to offer. You know, because that can happen. If all you see around your block are examples of what not to become, it's hard to figure out what to become in that environment. So Ms. Johnson, my third grade teacher, was the first person to help me understand that if I use these books, that was the surest way to improve my quality of life. More than sports, more than entertainment, all of those other things were shots in the dark. If you're talented, go for it. But if you use those books and you set a goal, I think every single one of you can accomplish it. It might not be at the same time, but if you start with certain building blocks and you continue to build on top of them, I don't think there's nothing that any of you can't accomplish. And that's kind of how I try to push my scholars as well. But Ms. Johnson was the first person. She used arts, so that's why you guys might have saw us walk in here. I can't say I drug us, but I was coming in here whether they followed in here or not, because I just remember the excitement of the arts that got me into education. She used the arts. She took us to Broadway plays. We would come back and perform them. She had us reading Shakespeare for kids, where they took the old English out and swapped in some things that we can comprehend. She had us doing early algebra for kids. She just pushed us. She tried it with me one time, though. She took us, she said, guys, put on gym clothes, or just come like you're going to the gym. We go to this thing, it's a studio with bars around it, you know where I'm going. And we were in there dancing, jumping around, and then they measured us the first day. Cool, it's still gym. The next time we came, they had these tights and little shoes, and then I realized she drug us in the ballet class. I was like, appreciated that experience, but that one wasn't for me. But I appreciated all of what she did. It really expanded my horizons, let me know that the world was huge and I had a place in there somewhere. And that bursted the barriers of sometimes your four sort of barriers of your block that you grow up on in certain environments can kind of limit what you think you can become. And after Ms. Johnson's class, those barriers were just shattered. You know, she literally said, and my project building was right out our window. She would pull us to the window and say, I know a lot of you live over there. I know it's a challenge. But again, if you use these books, you can go and do whatever you would like to do in this world. And one of the things she was also teaching us was, she taught us so many things. In the 3rd grade, she taught me that college was the 13th grade. And the way she did that was so that the way you know you're going to the 9th grade after the 8th grade, no question, you don't think, am I going to the military? Am I going to, like, all of these choices? You know you're going to high school. She brainwashed us to know that we're going to college without question, where she started to talk about terminal degrees in the 3rd grade. I had no idea what she was talking about, but it stuck when I started exploring the world. She's like, if you want to be in English, if you want to major in English, go get your doctorate in English. If you want to study psychology, get your doctorate. And I'm like, what are you talking about? How do you save somebody's life with English? Like, I'm thinking physician. Like, I cannot understand what she's mentioning. But then once I started to look for a career that I was interested in, I was like, oh, this dentist thinks I can do it, who was inspiring me, and he has a doctorate. So it just made me think the thing that I was looking at was in line with the conditioning that I think my 3rd grade teacher gave me. But that was important, and she gave me strength. Carla Dixon, who once we graduated high school and ended up in college, she was the person kind of waiting for us, almost like our program mother. She taught us so much about how to be a master student was her class, and it was a book on that. It's out. I think it may be out of print, but that book was dynamite. It taught us so many different things that whipped us into shape to be able to compete with our classmates in college, sitting in front of the class, pre-reading, writing your notes after class, all of these sorts of things, learning your setting to study, the best time of day for you to study, all of these sorts of strategies. She helped us, but she was the person that challenged us, made us believe in ourselves, got on us when we, if you read that, did we talk about that in the book when Carla got so mad at us? We did good, because if you read our book, you will be able to see when we let her down, when it would get challenging, she was just the one that was not that tall either. A lot of our mentors, when you look back, or the people that challenged us, were just these small, tough women that just would look at us and poke us in the chest and just get us right. And Ms. Johnson was one, and Carla was one as well. Ms. Johnson convinced me I was smart, which was the first thing I needed. Carla convinced us we can do it. And that's what I really needed also. Like, you can handle this. This is not too big for you. But we also went through other programs as well, where we met a ton of people who were able to guide us. But one of the other things that gave me strength that I want to share with you young people is we had strength in numbers. That's what I think was really our wild card. We weren't alone. When I didn't feel like studying, I'd see these guys studying. On my days I wasn't at my best, they were there. If I didn't, we taught each other how to be better students, how to be better people, how to be better men. We taught each other how to shave, how to tie ties, how to drive. All of these sorts of things that I needed, but these aren't my friends. They are family. These are my strategic partners. They are my service partners. They're my business partners. They're my thought partners. And we figure life out together in that way. And I encourage you guys to find the joys of that group think and that group effort. Because we spend so much time trying to figure out and strategize together on how to graduate that once we graduated, we have this system of strategy We just put it into nonprofit and philanthropy, and we kind of solving that problem as best we can together. So it's carried us, it sustains us, but it got us through. And it was like people are like, you know, you came from this, you didn't have much money, you didn't have your father, you didn't have these, but this was the hand that we were dealt. And we all have to play the hand we're dealt no matter what's in it. But the blessed part about it is I used to get mad that I didn't see 3 aces. And I look over at my counterparts who come from the suburbs, their father and mother's a dentist. I'm like, oh, you really, you got 2 practices waiting on you and all the guidance. And I'm looking at that and looking back at my hand. When you do that, that can kind of almost make you tuck and run or doubt yourself or, you know. But what I want you guys to also remember is in your hand when it doesn't look like you have the obvious hand, keep playing. Keep playing. It's wild cards in your hand. They just didn't get identified. A lot of times the deuce, you know that's wild. Sometimes you'll look and all of a sudden the game changed and 7s are wild. And we had a whole bunch of 7s by just being together. So our wild card was each other. What's yours though? You may find one, but get out there and try and push yourself. If you have to have a buddy system, that's kind of what I describe as what we did. We couldn't swim. It was the deep end. We locked arms, dove in, and kind of taught each other how to swim through it while our arms were locked. And they're still locked. And we're still kind of floating and pushing through our lives. But the last thing I want to say that is kind of backing up what Sam said as well is that you really never know when you get out there and you just care about people and you help. You never know the impact that you're going to have. I was with his family, as a matter of fact, not that long ago, Melba, who owns Melba's restaurant in Harlem. I brought some of my students to her restaurant, and her dentist, she kept telling me her dentist just loves us, and he's really on me, and I never could understand it. She invited him to speak to my students when we had a little event at her restaurant, and when he got up and spoke, you know, my students are a little younger than, or they missed a lot of the book that came out in 2002. These guys weren't even born when our first book came out, so I'm kind of chopped liver to them. But when the dentist came in there and spoke, I really wasn't ready for this. He said that when we wrote the book, he was in the 7th grade in like 2002. Now this is a man, he might be 35 now, little gray in his beard, 3 practices in Harlem, doing really, really well. And when he got up and spoke, he's like, he looked at me and was like, I want you to know, you know, your story really impacted me. I read your book, you know, back in the days before we had any sort of technology. It was just email. He was like, I really want you to know that I held on not only to your story, but I emailed you when I was little, and you emailed me back. And he was like, you were going back and forth with me. He said, I just took that, and I'm looking at him, and he's a full-grown man, just looks like me up here in a suit, got it together, and I'm like, that's amazing. And it just inspired me to keep on doing it because I have taken the things that these people have done for me, even in the ways I used to do it. Now I have Zoom, I have all of the technology in the world now where I'm helping kids wherever they are. You know, it doesn't even, like, I'll have a Zoom, and these kids in California here and there, like, our mentors were able to just touch us in front of us, you know, but technology is so great right now. It's almost exponentially increasing the impact that we can have out here for these young people who really need us. But I encourage not only you guys to follow your dreams, but I encourage all of you adults to hear them, listen to them, and do your best to help facilitate their dreams. Bring them in, let them shadow, talk to them, bring the best out of them, and give them the strength we know we needed to be able to succeed. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm gonna be brief for real. They both talking that that stuff, but I'm gonna be brief for real. The problem, I'm not going last no more, so we got, Wendy, can we make sure we put that in the contract? I'm not going last. When you go last, then I can't go, and I usually have a bomb talk, but y'all gonna miss it because we gotta get on a plane anyway. Now I'm wasting time. All right. I just want to say like two things, but I usually like to tell a story when I say my two things, but I'm going to be brief. No, I am, I promise. I sit in seats like this, and I've sat in seats like this, especially I'm speaking to y'all over there. And sometimes you just sit there, sometimes you might doze a little bit, but sometimes you sit there and somebody says something that might change your life. And so sometimes you should sit there and let somebody change your life. And what I want to say to you guys is that the reason we up here, the reason we've been doing this for 20 years is because we want to change your life. We want you to be inspired. You see so many negative things, right? We want you to see us, right? Because we see so many so much stuff. So I can't do this. Just so many negative things. I had a dream. I had this dream that my name was Dr. Rameck Hunt, a board-certified internal medicine and obesity medicine specialist, assistant professor of medicine. I teach medical students and residents. I do research. I give consult to the biggest billion-dollar pharmaceutical companies in the world. I had this dream about this, that I wrote these books that were New York Times bestseller. I met Oprah with this guy. I had this dream. I had this dream that I was hanging out with celebrities too. I ain't gonna tell y'all too much about that. But I had this dream that I was gonna be big. I was gonna be traveling all around, went to Indianapolis one time. I had this dream. No, I really did. I had this dream. I was in the bed, because I used to live in my grandmother's house because, you know, my mom, like, it was tough. Like, she was on drugs, and I was living in my grandmother, and I was sleeping in the bed, and I had this dream. And I lived with my grandmother, but it was cool because my cousins lived there too, because we didn't have no money. We all was, rough. It was rough. It was tough. I lived in Newark, and I lived in Plainfield, another rough town. But I did have this dream, and I thought to myself, one day this dream could come true. But then people talking about your dream can't come true, because look where you live. Your mother on drugs, you live in your grandmother's house, you live on welfare. Your dream ain't gonna come true. It can't come true. And then my cousin, because, we slept in the same bed because my cousins was there too, because they ain't had no house. Because when we ain't had nowhere to live, my grandmother always, she was clutch. I was there. We had a place to go. But we ain't had nowhere to live. So it was like a slumber party. Me and my cousin slept head to foot in the same bed. So even though we ain't had no heat, because we ain't had no heat either, but even though we ain't had no heat, it was still warm, except for when people peed in the bed, then it got warm. And then, and then I had to flip the mattress. See, y'all don't know nothing about flipping the mattress, but we had to flip the mattress, right? But I had this dream. I really had this dream that one day I could be standing here in a suit that I paid a lot of money for, by the way, that I could be standing here in a suit. I had this dream, but everybody thought I was stupid. Somebody thought I was crazy. Like, how you gonna have a dream? You live in Newark. You can't have no dream. How you gonna get there? You ain't got no money to get to college. But I had this dream. And I was sitting there, and then my cousin, and then I was thinking to myself, like, all the people that were around me, they were just as smart as me. But then as I was growing up, I was wondering why people was falling off. Like, look around your friends and make sure they don't fall off, because sometimes your friends fall off. And why? I said, I don't know. And I had to think about it. And I think sometimes people lose hope. Right? Because when I remember when I was growing up, I thought I was going to be, a doctor, a lawyer. The teacher asked you what you want to be. I had like 5 things I wanted to be. I wanted to be the president. But then I realized you could be the president one day, because he must have had a dream. Right? But then, so what happens? And I realized as people get older, they lose hope. They see it, they look around them, and they see what's going on around them. And they see that uncle's on drugs, he nodding off, but he never quite fall to the ground. They see people ain't really got no good jobs. They see a lot of stuff. And so you really just see what's your reality, and whatever your reality is what you should be believing, because That's your reality. See, in medicine, if you believe or see something that's actually not there, that's called hallucinations, and that's called schizophrenia. So when you see something that's real, that's what most people would believe. If you asking me to believe something that I don't see, that I've never seen, that's kind of crazy. Which is why we try to come here so you can see us, because I had this dream that I could really be standing here today. I had this dream. But then a lot of my friends, they didn't see it. And they fell off and they lost hope and they did some things and they didn't make it. But I had a dream. But then the problem with those dreams, a lot of things come up. And there's something called split-second decisions. And I'm talking to these kids over here for sure. Because I remember there you go, shout out to you, bro. Yeah. Because I remember when I was your age, those split-second decisions are what got me in trouble. What are you talking about, split-second decisions? You know, those decisions that you make, and then all of a sudden you got a split second to make it. Tick, 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 tick. It's only a split second to make that decision. Tick, 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 and you got to decide what to do. And see, when you're young, I'm gonna speak a little medicine, so you got this thing called the prefrontal cortex in front of your brain, and your prefrontal cortex allows you to make decisions, and that's your executive function. And when you have the executive function, you can make a decision based off that executive function. Unfortunately, young kids don't have their executive function formulated or matured yet, and so they make a lot of split-second decisions off emotions. And see, when you get old like me, you don't really make a lot of emotional decisions no more. You kind of old. You kind of move a little slow too, but you don't make no split-second decisions because that prefrontal cortex is pretty well developed. But when you're young, you make a lot of emotional decisions. So anyway, when I was young, I was hanging out with my boys, and we was behind the school, and we was chilling, and we was drinking alcohol. We shouldn't be drinking no beer, but we was drinking beer, and the crackhead came up. And he asked one of my boys if he could buy some crack off of him, so he did. But the only thing is he could not be smoking the crack in the school zone, because it's a school zone. You can't be smoking crack here. But my friend was selling crack there. But anyway, that's another story. So we told the crackhead he can't sell it here. He can't smoke it here. So he said, okay, he bought it, he left. But then it was like this green dumpster that they used to have behind our school, and we saw a flame come up from behind there. So we knew that the crackhead was smoking the crack. So we all ran over there, and we saw, and I don't know if y'all remember that Dave Chappelle skit, but when we surrounded the crackhead, he was like this, and he looked up with the white stuff around his lips. And we said, we told you not to. Boom, we started beating him up, right? Picking him up, beating him up, picking him up, beating him up. Remember, I told you I had a dream. Remember that. So I'm beating him up, beating him up, beating him up. Me and my friends, we taking turns. And so we all excited. And now, mind you, I wanted to impress my friends. And I happened to have this switchblade in my pocket. So I figured I could impress my boys, right? So I pulled out my switchblade. This is not a switchblade, this is a pen. But I pulled out my switchblade, and that's when that split-second decision started. Tick, 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 because I obviously didn't want to stab this guy, but I wanted to impress tick, 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 impress my friends, but I should have put it back in my pocket, but I didn't know if I should put it back. Tick, 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 the split second, I don't know what to do. Tick, tick, so I poked him a little bit and put it back in my pocket. That little poke got me arrested and got me charged with attempted murder. Tick, 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 tick. That was that split-second decision. But God is good, and God was watching over me. And that's the reason I'm here today, because that dream was still there. Now, I could have gave up on my dream. I could have said, Joe, I had this dream, and I can't do it no more. I could have gave up. But the reason I'm here to tell you, the reason we're here to tell you is because you got to keep that dream alive. You can still do it. No matter, so many things that can happen and so many things that might happen in your life. But you got to keep that dream. And you can't just be sitting here, I dreamt. Because if you dream without action and you don't do nothing, that's called sleep. You're just sleeping. But we need to move. You got to act. act, you gotta do things. And so that dream is important, especially when you put action behind that dream and know, you look at us, you can touch us, we are real. We are not just a dream. We are real. We are here with you, and the reason we're here with you is because we want to inspire you. We want you to be like, yo, I could be like them. I could be better than them, in fact. They came from the same place I came from. They've been through the same things I've been through. Some been through similar, if not the same. You can have a dream, and you deserve to have a dream. And I want you to dream big. I want you to be whatever it is you want to be, because nobody would have thought that a little scrawny kid, because I used to be scrawny, I gained a little weight, but a kid like me would be able to be here talking to you guys. But see, it was ordained, like Dr. Davis said earlier. It was a reason why he saved us three. It was a reason for that. We are here for a reason. And it's important that you guys take advantage of it and really just sit and learn, because if we can do it, you guys can do it. And that is the main reason why we're here, to really tell you, as much as you've been through, we've been through it too. Excuses are, I got a lot of excuses I could make. Well, I grew up in just me and my mom. So did I. Oh, we ain't had no money. I ain't had none either. Oh, I went to jail. Me too. What next? What you got? I got one better. Come on. You can't tell me nothing. And if I could do it, you can do it. And I'm going to end it there. Thank you.
Going to go ahead and introduce our poets for today for the Slammin Rhymes Fest. So I want to thank all of the poets today, because it's very hard to be creative and be vulnerable through writing. So we want to thank all of the poets once again. Our first poet is Amaya Zachary.
Hi, my name is Amaya Zachary. I'm in 7th grade, and I will be reciting Built from Every Challenge. My strength is the pain of weakness leaving my body, the discipline to never give up, to work hard for myself, to grow when no one's cheering. My strength is the ability to prepare for, adapt to, and recover from challenges, to rise when I fall, to turn setbacks into lessons, growing stronger with every test I face. My strength is the courage to face my fears, to keep moving forward when I want to turn back, to stand tall in moments of doubt, to believe in my power to overcome. My strength is in me always, in my heart, my mind, and my soul, built from every challenge I faced and every time I refused to fall. Thank you.
Our next performer is Claire Thomas, Franklin Central High School.
Hello, my name is Claire Thomas. I'm in the 9th grade, and I will be reciting my poem, Strength is a Tide. Strength is a tide, white, foamy waters rushing together, undefined by gravity, by reckless force, coming to bring life and spirit undivided to the vastness of this earth. It is also a teacher encouraging their students in the midst of hardship, a doctor ensuring their patients go on to thrive on a daily basis, an author working tirelessly on their next self-help novel, a parent putting their best toward their minimum wage job, a person willing themselves out of bed for the first time in days. They may not seem momentous, these worldly acts, but they define so much more than the figurative terms that only seem to apply to those deemed scholarly. We could talk all day about strength's metaphors, lion hearts, iron will, tall oak trees stretching to the sky. But what is that compared to the little child, being there for their friend even when the hospital seems scary? The music teacher in the war zone, teaching kids their do-re-mis even amongst the gunshots. These actions, they speak when words cannot. My strength, it is what I accomplish in the everyday, completing an exam I am anxious over, presenting a paper to a large crowd, being myself even amongst adversity. My strength, it is these normal, persistent actions, one by one, forming the sword and shield that will be my determination and courage, challenged but always unwavering. Do not deny your strength. It is possible. Write a poem, read a banned book, donate to a cause. Everyday acts can be the most significant as we embrace what it means to be human. And gradually, we will rise strong, courageous, united, as ordinary people, powerful spirits, like the rushing waters of a tide. Thank you.
We have our next poet, Cariana Bond.
Hi, my name is Cariana, and my poem is called The Strength in Silent Pain. From the day we enter this earth to the day we leave it, people always have something to say no matter their day. It takes a lot of strength to admit some things, like when you love someone, or when you stand a borrowed sweater. It's the little things that take the most courage, but it's never in vain, like speaking up when you feel that you're drowning in your own pain. When we stand tall, and after we get through it all, our strength is chipped, it's silently missed. Life is full of surprises, like the first time you were kissed, and you think about it all day long. Turns out, strength is like a song. Everyone has a different tempo they can play to. All are valid, even if we don't always feel like it. We hold our heads up high to the sky, making wishes for things to come true, but we will feel deep rue if we don't do the things that we want to. So we must grab onto our strength and stop just dreaming about better days, because we are causing our own hearts dismay. And one day, when I lay stuck in my brain, I will be glad I held on to myself using my tender strength. I guess you can call me a lender, because when my mind is stuck in the blender, I still rise for those beaten down by their own cruel thoughts. And the truth is, strength is not measured in length. It's not an item to be chased, and it cannot be erased even if it feels gone, because it's all around us. From the day we enter this earth right down to the minute we leave, people always have something to say. But today, don't let it be space that strength is within you. Stop clawing at your own skin, because you can and will win against the silent battles that leave you rattled. And just in case you haven't heard it from anyone today, I love you. Wow, I guess it's really not that hard to say.
Our next poet is Tyrese Smith, and he is representing the Edison School of Arts.
This is my poet, and my name is Tyrese Smith. Every day I wake up, tie my invisible cape, and step into a world that keeps trying to tell my story without ever asking me to read it. They see me, but they don't see me. People whispers, if he can do this, if he can do that, he should be able to do that, but they don't know how those words cut deep. How their smiles can offend some people. How they'll build stories about me. But forget, I have feelings too. I hear the lies, I hear the whispers, I hear the labels they toss around like paper planes that never quite land in the truth. But then one day, when someone pulls me aside, not to test me, but to talk to me, with me to meet me where I am, and they find me something real, my brilliance, my strength, my voice. So let me introduce myself again. I'm Tyrese Smith, 13 years old, Black, living with autism, and thriving. I'm a published author, a model, a basketball player, a musician. I play 2 instruments. I earned scholarships, won awards for my book and short film. Still every day, I fight to be seen as more than a label. My strength isn't providing you wrong. It's showing you every day, giving my best in a world that often forgets. That different doesn't mean less. So next time you want to talk about me, don't whisper, don't assume, don't judge my cape. Before you know my power, just Google me. And remember, I'm more than what you think I can be.
Our next poet is Royal Aramade.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Royal, and today my poem is about strength. Strong like my mama, based off a true story. Strength. I am the rock, the unmoved mountain, the storm that bends but never breaks. Strength is my name, not because I never fall, but because I rise every time, dusting off history's weight, standing tall with every scar. I know what strength looks like. It looks like my mama, packing boxes with steady hands, tears tucked behind her smile, whispering, "Baby, we're gonna be all right." They told her, "Send your child to that school." But that school was never learning. It was a mind cage, a cycle, a place where they block black children in poverty and college education, feeding us crumbs, locking us in graves beneath our gifts, testing us, knowing we shine brighter, but refusing to open the door. Mama saw the bars behind the books. She said, "Not my child, not this time." She said, "Baby, you are not built for cages. You are built for purpose." So we walked away from walls, even when it meant losing our own. They dragged us to court, they stamped the paper, evicted. But I call it conviction. She chose my future over their system, opportunity over things, faith over fear. Because real strength ain't just lifting boxes, it's lifting me. It's teaching me that sometimes standing up for yourself means losing everything they think you need, but gaining everything you truly deserve. I've seen struggle, but I've also seen power, the kind that makes you walk taller, even when the floor is gone beneath your feet. So when they ask me who I am, I say, I am the daughter of a woman too strong to bow, too wise to settle, too bold to let anybody else write the story of my life. If she is the rock, then I am the mountain she raised. Because strength is not what we, is not what, okay, because strength is not what we, is not just what we carry, it is who we are. Thank you.
We have Raymond Stash is our next poet.
I'm Raymond Stash. I'm in 9th grade, and I'm reading my poem, Lord, Give Us the Strength. I don't know if you've stopped listening by now. If I were you, I would have too. I mean, a lot of people do exactly what you disallow, and the ones who don't are a rare few. I have one big thing to ask for tonight, though, God. You know how you gave Jesus the strength to live and die for our sins? Would you give some people that same strength across the world and abroad? Give it to the homeless in our streets, asking for money in solo cups or metal tins, the people being drugged from their homes for the color of their skin, the children in impoverished countries getting sick from diseases without affordable remedies, the families in war-torn areas praying for another day as the bombs fall in, those who are no longer protected under the Constitution due to their identities, the kids forced to mine the diamonds that will fund wars and more oppression, the children stolen from their homes and forced to be a soldier in a war they know nothing about, the women risking their lives in the Middle East for a high school education, the parents who make enough to have a home but not enough to feed their babies so they go without, the elderly who make enough to get by but not enough to afford life-saving medications, and finally the leaders who make these oppressive conditions and seethe hatred when they scream. Give them the strength to overcome the fear that breeds their abhorrence of people's distinctions. Help them see that the people they put down are not their new boogeyman or a part of the devil's scheme. Maybe if they realized that, then they wouldn't hate us so much. God, maybe if they realized that, then they would love us as much as they love themselves like you said to do. God, give us and them one more day to live and learn and make progress until all is fixed. Maybe that's impossible with how scary the world is and fear fostering hate, but Lord, give us the strength to at least try.
Up next, we have Kamori Conley.
Hello, everyone. My name's Kamori, and today I will be reciting After the Storm. My strength is like the rain, washing away all doubts, raining hard at first, but leaving everything clean. Every drop is a reminder that even the sky has to cry to grow. My strength is like a tree, holding on despite what tries to shake it. When a hurricane blows through, I might bend but not break. When the wind roars, okay, I'm sorry, hold on. My roots run deep with faith and fight. When the wind roars, the wind might roar, but I persevere. Thank you for listening.
Up next, we have Xavion Self.
My name is Xavion Self, and I will be doing a rap, and my title is Real Strength. Strength ain't just about being in the gym. It's staying strong when the lights become dim. Make sure you stay strong, you gotta take the win. My strength is in my soul, I have skills to show. No matter hard times, I still get up and go. I got God on my side. When our strength is together, yeah, we break all the odds. We're nothing apart, just a young black kid who was working hard. We all got dreams like Martin Luther King, so take the key and go and achieve. And don't quit no matter the fall. Get up and stand tall. I had a few tests and I passed them all. Don't ever make yourself like a black wall, because you're a work of art like graffiti on the wall. Yeah, you surpassed all, and that's real strength.
Up next, we have our last poet, Jamaria Loyal.
I'm Jamaria Loyal, and my poem is called Plans to Prosper. I've been hurt but never broken, words that should have been said but were never spoken. Truths tucked tight, I should say it with my chest, but like prayers and promises, I ain't said none of it yet. I'm trying really hard, but it's hard to stay strong. I'm in a world full of chaos and it's gone on too long. A lot of people make decisions, but they know that they're wrong. In a world full of hate, it's hard to feel you belong. Strength ain't gotta be loud or flexed in a mirror. It's quiet in the hard times and it walks a little nearer. The world turned cold and the nights got long. It's real hard to be brave, but I always play strong. You can hear it in the voices that still say I'm fine, in the hands that shake but still hold the line. It's the tears I wipe quick before anyone sees, and the battles I fight with no guarantees. Strength is my mom who works hard at her job, still makes dinner for 3, is the sun in the fog. It's my friend's brother who's hurt, but still gets back up, with scars on his soul, the pain he feels in his gut. It's his mom who left when the so-called love turned cruel, who found her own worth outside of a man's rules. It's her son locked in that cell who dreams to be free, who wants better for his future but sleeps on juvie sheets. I remember long nights I stayed up crying in bed. I got so much going on, I keep it trapped in my head. I pray more than I talk right now, started thinking about death. I can't say I have it bad because I know that I'm blessed. Strength don't ever ask for applause or the fame. It don't need the credit, it doesn't play into those games. It's built from a fire, from a loss, from a wrist that got slit, from every time life said quit, and you said, nah, I ain't with it. It might be in the silence, it comes after the storm. That's when you realize your heart's still beating, you're still warm, still breathing, still here, still whole, still you. So if you're always walking with weight on your back, and the world feels heavy and the skies turn black, just know that strength ain't about being tough, it's about showing up when your life gets rough. It's in your story, it's in your name, it's in your fight, in your flame. You're built from that fire, you're built to always rise, your strength is in motion, your strength to be wise. My mom always told me we can do hard things, so I learned to stay strong, I learned to chase my dreams. I never went with the flow, I never followed the stream. I've been through it all, and I'm only 16.